It would naturally lead to a high carbohydrate diet, because as soon as we start to avoid the foods that contain fat, then we would almost automatically start to have more carbohydrates in the diet. And again, the people have not been given good advice about what constitutes healthy eating. For example, most people, well, we've all been told that whole grains are healthy and a slow releasing form of energy, and actually they're far from that. When you look at the foods which have the worst impact on blood glucose levels, then all of the grain-based foods are the worst foods for doing that. So because they contain a lot of carbohydrate, and that carbohydrate in grain-based foods like cereals, bread, rice, pasta, that carbohydrate is quite rapidly converted into glucose in the bloodstream. And we've been given the idea that whole grains, because they're less refined, are a slow releasing form of energy. Well, it's true that whole grains are a slower releasing form of energy than refined grains. So brown bread will have less of an impact than white bread. But because they're all still grains, then you don't really benefit much. So it's not that much slower than the white bread would be. And so there's another huge misconception about grain-based foods. And in fact, to manage our blood glucose levels, what we should be looking at is meals based on meat or fish and vegetables or eggs, with vegetables or pulses or beans and those types of foods, and trying to minimize the grain-based foods as much as possible.